Hey everybody, it's Virtua Racing from SEGA Ages. This just got released and I'm like, oh shit. I'm curious to see some of these new features, because some of these weren't actually mentioned in the pre-release material, so what's Helper? I'm curious now. Oh. Well, that explains that then. Go on, I'm curious, let's try this out. This probably won't be like a full gameplay through because I suck at this game, but we'll give it a look. So now you won't collide with other racers. That's helpful. I mean, helper mode, I guess. One thing I'm very curious about is to see the difference between arcade and normal style steering. It's like, what does that even mean? But yeah, it's Virtua Racing. This is basically a port 20 odd years in the making, more than that. Virtua Racing's original arcade release, just untouched, has never received a port. Bizarrely. Or at least if it has, I don't remember it. It's had ports on the Mega Drive, it had, on the Mega Drive. It had a port on the 32X, I own the Mega Drive and 32X versions, although I don't own a 32X to actually play Virtua Racing Deluxe. I own the Saturn version. No, I don't own the Saturn version, I mean, despite being the Saturn fanboy. But I've heard of the Saturn version, and I've heard very mixed things about it. Some people say it's the best, some people say it's the absolute worst. And I'm like, well, shit. But, yeah. And there was the PS2 version, which was released standalone in Japan, and in the SEGA Classics Collection pack in the West, which in Japan is called Virtua Racing Flatout. Which had a massive graphical boost in that it kept the polygonal style of the game, but added like new lighting and stuff, and I actually thought it looked quite nice. The problem is apparently the controls suck, but again, I've heard mixed things on that. Some people say that that's the best version, so I don't know anymore. All I know is that this is the arcade version, untouched, untainted. It's just, well, it's got new features like the helper mode and stuff, but for the most part, this is just the arcade version. I haven't really given Virtua Racing much of a shake outside of the Mega Drive port because, well, Daytona USA is right there. And I do kind of want them to port Daytona to Switch. It would be questionable because the Switch doesn't have actual, like, it doesn't have analog triggers. And they've gotten around that for this port. You can map the analog sticks to be the gas. So you can actually have basically an analog gas pedal. But yeah, it's not quite as graceful as just having analog triggers, which is something the Switch should have had, and I will be forever baffled that they didn't do that. But oh well. The controls to me feel fine. It controls like Virtua Racing. Oh shit! Never actually seen this, but the fact I've never seen this bit is a testament to how bad I am at this game. cool. So yeah, what I actually want to try now is if I go back to the start menu. Let's watch a replay, because this is something very cool about this port. Unlike the standard replay features from the previous ones, they actually let you, whatchamacallit, use the replay broadcast feature that was in Virtua Formula, which was something completely, it was an extremely like high-end version of virtual racing that barely got released, and it had this race broadcast feature. But yeah. The only thing I'm curious about is I can't in the preview images they released, they showed the Virtua Formula guy talking at the top. And that doesn't appear to be in this, unless I'm just missing a setting, which I probably am. But, it's cool all the same. I just want to know how you get the, whatchamacallit. How do you get the cool dude up? I want to be commentated on. Well, anyway, let's try this new mode, I guess. What is the new race? New steering. I'm gonna go with Big Forest again, just so I can see the difference on the stage that I'm familiar with. Ooh. It's a lot more sensitive. Oh, it's kind of like, this is a lot more forgiving than it feels like, than the, because when you steer, you do just kind of steer. It's not like the arcade version where you just start braking regardless. Oh, this is interesting, actually. You still need to hit the brakes and all that, but it's like... Yeah, I actually kind of... At first I was like, hang on a minute, this is a bit sensitive, isn't it? And it is very sensitive, like, I'm barely moving the stick here and it's flinging me all over the place, but I can see why they've done it like that. And besides, the original mode is still there if you want it, so I don't view this as too bad. I mean, for example, Gale Racer on the Saturn is a game with extremely sensitive controls, and I love the hell out of that game, so... This feels okay to me right now. That's very interesting. I think, considering from my experience in MAME, trying to emulate games like this, it's like getting the controls down on a gamepad. It can be murderously difficult. So I think it's clever to have like two takes on mapping the controls. One that's more accurate to the arcade version, and one that's kind of more suited for casual players and stuff. 2 seconds. Okay, yeah, I just need to check something. Okay. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, so far I'm pretty impressed. I just need to figure out how to get the replays to do the Virtua Formula thing, because that shit looked cool. And having that preserved would be amazing. It might be something to do with the twin type cabinet. That's what I'm guessing, so I'm going to put on Grand Prix mode in a minute. Yeah, you can see how harsh the steering is in this mode. It's like a more snappy mode. There you go.
Congratulations!
So that's certainly interesting. We'll try out a different level next, probably. I forgot to put in a name on my new best record. Oops. Oh well. Let's have a look in settings then. Yeah, let's do Grand Prix then. Oh, you can change the colour of the car. Nice. Do black. Cool, cool. Don't mind me just checking good old Discord. Okay.
Select course by wheel and step on gas pedal.
Yeah, Virtua Fighter 1 does seem somewhat likely as one of the next, because they seem to have completely dropped the whole idea of putting the games into waves now, to be honest. Like, it's weird. It was like, there was supposed to be like, what, 15 games in the first wave. And now, how they've done it is, just, SEGA Fest, obviously, they announced a ton of new games pushing well past that 15 game target, and now it just looks like they've dropped the idea of waves entirely. I do hope they get to Model 2 at some point, because Sega has already done Model 2 ports. They did the Model 2 collection for PS3, and that was fantastic. I love those ports. Particularly Virtua Racing. I mean, they were just the PS2 ports, granted, but Sonic the Fighter's never got a PS2 Ages port, so it was really interesting to see what you could do with that game had it been given a PS2 port like the others. So I would love for those games to come to Switch. And obviously Daytona, but that was more of its own thing rather than being a collect with the other Model 2 ports. I think my friend Saturn Memories mentioned that the Model 2 ports on PS3 and Xbox were just running on a commercial version of Selby's M2 emulator, which is interesting, and it worked because I mean those ports were good. So they also fixed some of the issues I had with Selby's emulator. But it was polished up for a commercial release, which I like. One of the main problems I have with this release right now, well, not main problem, but a small problem I have with it, is there's no rumble. Come on, it'd be awesome to have rumble in this game, especially considering how the original arcade cabinets for like these kinds of games sometimes move and stuff. Yeah, this game is out, but only in Japan, because yeah, the Western releases are still pretty far behind. Not as far behind as they were, to be fair. Right now in the West, we're missing Puyo Puyo and this. So they are behind, but if they do what they did with Alex Kidd and Game Ground, they might just release Puyo and Virtua Racing at once in a couple of weeks. Which I'd be fine with. But I still had money left over from getting Puyo 1 on my Japanese account, so... Cheers, Falling Kite Star, I appreciate it. Okay. The only, like, the actual main problem I found with this so far is that the motion control steering mode seems to be a bit fiddler. If you try mapping the left stick to the analog and using the motion steering, it doesn't seem to actually work, which is probably just a glitch, but it is a bit weird. Because trying to accelerate with the right stick and also handle drifting and all that, you could remap it to make it better, to be fair. It has fully remappable controls, but it did seem a bit fiddler. I'm not sure. I did think in the initial preview images they released of this game that the graphics looked a bit too bright. So they probably should have had another look at the colour correction, but it depends. I've seen some emulators do render it this bright and some don't, so. But I've never actually played the original Virtua Racing on a cabinet to verify it. For what it's worth, I think it looks better than the initial preview screenshots did. Those just looked way too bright, as in the gamma was just too high on them. I think they've got an alright colour palette going on here. Like, the greens look fine. Like, the colours for the most part look fine. It's just that... For example, the mountains. The mountains look a bit bright, but that might just be this course. I'm going to have to go check the... I'll check the other courses, because I was making a Smash Bros stage yesterday based on Virtua Racing, and I remember how those mountains look on most emulators, so I'll have a look. Jesus. The only place I see old Sega cabs is at somewhere like the Arcade Club or Play Expo, somewhere specialised. And I love the Arcade Club, I just wish the Project Diva cabinet wasn't still broken. It's been removed from the music game citing site, so I'm going to assume they're just not getting Project Diva back in. And the fact I cancelled a trip where I could have played the Project Diva cabinet in favour of a later one, which I didn't end up going on because the Diva cabinet was destroyed, I was like, well shit, now I feel like an idiot. I don't even know why it's such a big deal, because Project Diva is on, Future Tone is on the PS4 anyway, and I don't have to pump money into it. Although you don't have the Arcade Club either, because it's all free play, but still. I wanted proper control. Once I was planning to make a Project Diva controller, because I looked online at the prices and I was like, well shit. So I was like, hang on, what if I just get a bunch of fight stick parts and wire up my own Project Diva controller using fight stick parts? Maybe I'll do it someday, I don't know. Because, for example, you can get that universal fighting controller, or board, or whatever it is. So, maybe that could work in terms of building a Project Diva controller. It'd be interesting to try. Maybe when I'm a bit more affluent. Jesus. Yeah. Yeah, I've gathered that it's not the hardest thing in the world to do. Especially when you get stuff like the Universal Fight Board. The hardest part would probably just be import duties on all the parts. But it would be cool to make a custom Project Diva controller. And I've seen it done. At MagFest, they had Project Diva Future on PS4 wired up to what was basically just one of the arcade control units with a proper touch panel and everything. It was incredible. I was like, how? This game has such good music. That'd be interesting. I have seen Mega Drive arcade sticks, but I don't own any. Hilariously, I own two Master System arcade sticks instead. And those work with the Mega Drive, but obviously they're only 2 buttons. So, in case you fancy it... Oh, god, man. Oh, shit, don't do that. In case you fancy the weirdest arcade experience ever, you can, whatchamacallit, you can play Sonic the Hedgehog with a Master System arcade stick, and it's an experience. Okay, something else about this port. Good god, does it ever whir on your thumbs to have the A button pressed down for so long. I have this problem with a lot of games, like racing games. It's just that they're just not comfortable because Nintendo, for some ungodly reason, always builds the buttons to be convex and not concave. That is still the best idea ever, and one day I might do it myself because I just have that many Mega Drives. I forgot what the Mega Jet was for a second though. I would say a Virtua Fighter port is fairly likely. I wouldn't be too crazy about it, to be honest, because Virtua Fighter 1 isn't really my cup of tea, and Virtua Fighter in general never really clicked with me until Virtua Fighter 3. I love Virtua Fighter 3. It's the black sheep of the series, but I love it. Virtua Fighter 1 and 2, I'd just rather stick on Fighting Vipers and play that instead. They're good games, or at least Virtua Fighter 2 is definitely a good game. But, yeah. But if they were going to port Virtua Fighter, I'd rather they just dig up the PS3 port of Virtua Fighter 2 and port that, and also do Fighting Vipers. And also Sonic the Fighters, give Honey another chance to shine. I used to hate Sonic the Fighters, but I actually like Sonic the Fighters now. That sounds disastrous. My Mega Drive of choice, I'm not sure exactly what's in it. I just know that it's got a mod, like a mod in it that'll let me switch to 60Hz, and that's all I need. And then I'm going to get a Mega Drive Mini anyway. Oh shit. Yeah, okay, I'm not crazy though. My controller was just messing up. And I swear to God, if that cost me this race. The Joy-Cons are some of the worst controllers in terms of build quality I have ever seen. Come on. There we go. Oh shit, are we gonna do it? Damn it. Guys, I'm not even really after first here. I just want to finish this goddamn race. There we go. Whew, my hand. Damn strict. It was pre-modded. Damn brutal. Yeah, here we go. Live from helicopter. It's Mr. Vert McPolygon. I'm alive and kicking. I'm not sure if this song was always actually in, because again, this replay mode was only in Virtua Formula. The, whatchamacallit, the, special rare version of the game. So, I'm not sure if they actually did make this remixed from Virtua Racing, because I know it was in Virtua Racing Deluxe, that's where everyone knows it from. But this replay feature was only in a very rare version of the arcade game. So, I'm not sure if they remixed it new for this port or not. I'll check the credits in a minute, because I'm sure the credit sequence is amazing as well. One hell of a tune. This is interesting. I can't actually find any, like, there's no uploads of an arcade version of this song, so it might actually be no.
One, two, three, go!
I almost want to go and boot up the test menu of like virtual racing, like a virtual racing ROM, just to see if there is like this song in the sound test or something, because I can't find an arcade version of it. I just know that the replay feature is from Virtua Formula. Okay, while you guys watch this, I'm just gonna... Yeah, I know the song's from one of the console versions, it's just that it was never in, like... This arcade version has never been ported, so... I'm curious. Let's go see the staff credits, I'm sure they're amazing. So there is a sound designer credit, yeah. Oh, they added a new credit to the opening animation. Maybe they've added new music now. Let me just go boot up MAME real quick, because I'm very curious. I want to get to the bottom of this. Because I don't want to tweet that it's definitely from, whatchamacallit. I don't want to tweet that it's from Virtual Racing 32X if it actually did originate from, whatchamacallit, Virtua Formula. Because I ain't about that misinformation life. Okay, let's have a look. Emulators. Okay, let's have a look. Name just gave me a texture error, and I hadn't even loaded anything yet. So that's a good start. Try this. Okay. Virtua Formula. Yeah, there we go. Ah, shit. I'm missing stuff. Do I have virtual racing at least? And no, I don't. I'm sure I've played Virtual Racing on this machine. Let's try the original version of it. Don't mind me, just being a nerd. There we go. Yeah, Space Harrier is coming, we just don't know when. Okay, I'm just going to turn down the desktop audio on this end, and then... let me have a look. What even do I have mapped for Virtual Racing? Input... service, okay, 9 and F2, okay.
Select course by wheel
No,
and
no,
step
no,
on
no,
gas
no.
pedal.
Okay, here we go. Base, shift, X1. Yeah, the sound test doesn't have a listing for the replay music, and with no way to get because I don't have a way to get a virtual formula working right now. Oh wait, never mind. It is working. Cool. Okay, let's have a look. It should base sound test and yeah, sure enough, Virtual Formula doesn't have the music either, which means they actually did make, unless they just dug it out from some archive, they actually did make a new arrangement of the Virtual Racing DX music for this, which is awesome. So, as usual, props to M2 for that. Cool. Well, I'm glad we got to the bottom of that, and let's get back to playing the game, I guess. And yeah, you can have a ridiculous 8-player split screen, and online. But I don't think enough people have got the game to do online yet, so we'll give that a bit. Yeah, sure enough. Okay, okay, let's move on to the medium track. Whilst I quickly run back to, let's remap, let's remap how to accelerate, because it's not like I'm... What? Oh, right. Because... Ah, seriously, you can't... Oh yeah, there you go. Gas pedal. I hope the online is improved from, how it was in, whatchamacallit. Improved from how it was in Puyo. Because I was playing Puyo's online last night, and it wasn't very good, for lack of a better word. Oh, wow, this is a lot faster. Jesus. This game still looks pretty damn good. Like, considering how primitive it is, it has, like, no textures whatsoever. They did a lot with what they had. This is basically just a prototype version of the Seaside Street Galaxy. Like, it's got a lot of similar level design beats. I've never really given these stages much of a look because, I don't know, I was always just so bad at the beginner stage that I was like, I'm never going to bother with these other ones. But it's nice to actually play them in a scenario where I give myself a chance, because yeah, it's easy mode, helper mode, all that, but I really appreciate that they've been adding these helper modes and stuff. It's allowed me to experience games like Thunder Force and stuff, and I still get the great gameplay, I just can also have even a vague chance of beating it. Also, I've turned down the game volume way too much, Jesus Christ. Better. No, you can use the right stick as kind of a brake when you're holding down the accelerator, so that's helpful. Jesus, we didn't even let the last one finish. Go, 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 go. Yeah, somehow I don't think we're finishing this one. I still have to learn how to, like, properly get to grips with how to drift in this game. It's not quite as clear cut as Daytona, and even that could be a pain in the ass sometimes. Just holding drift while holding brake while accelerating seems to do the job alright. But, there we go. Okay, this time let's not accidentally, like, hit start on the, That's fur. This is not Daytona USA. Oh yeah, Saturn Memories. You're the one who'd most likely know about this. Was the Virtua Racing DX replay music in any arcade version? Because, like, as far as I'm aware, this is a new arrangement. But I don't want to be wrong. And I feel like you are the person who would know. Oh cool, they've revealed a Crunch Bandicoot for Crash Team Racing. That's nice. Yeah, I checked the sound test for Virtua Formula, and I didn't see anything. Because I know the replay feature is originally from that. It's really cool. I love that they're doing all these arrangements of, like, based on the old soundboards and stuff. It's so good. I'm gonna have to record this later. I did that with the Outrun music. So I'll record this for YouTube later. I will learn manual at some point. Today's not that day. It could only really be a Chibi Tech or SD Heizumi, unless they really got Manabu Namiki on it, which I'd be down with, because I mean he is the sound director. So yeah, it's up in the air who did it. I might just actually I know Game Watch just put out the new interview on this game, so it probably says in there. I'll have to give it a look in a minute. Oh shit. Hairpin turns, my #1 weakness. Yeah, I can already tell I'm not going to be finishing this race. I do wish they would bring these to other systems. I understand your pain. Like, I love having them on Switch, because I can take them anywhere, but just having them on PC and stuff would be a great option. And I think it'd also be better for preservation, but I'm glad that these exist at all, to be honest. M2 do some incredible work, so it's just really nice to have a proper console port of like this. Main bugbear with a release like this is just the lack of whatchamacallit. Oh yeah, this is crisp. Like, it looks fantastic on I'm on a 1080p monitor here and it looks absolutely superb. Before the stream I tried it without my stream layout because I don't have two monitors. I have to play the game through my stream layout on OBS in the editor view. But I tried playing it on whatchamacallit, on just my monitor normally without hooking up to my capture card, and it just looks phenomenal. Like, the only thing is that I do think that maybe it's a bit too bright in places. Like, some of the graphics look a bit overdone on the gamma scale, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. I've seen a lot of different takes on the graphics in this game, so. It's still a very pretty looking game. Yeah, I was gonna say actually the arcade over the arcade version, the draw distance is insane. Like, look, there basically is no popping whatsoever. It's crazy. It does kind of expose some of like the geometry that they probably didn't want you to see, but it's like, damn. I think the colours look better than when they first showed this port off at the very least. Like, when they first showed it off, it was extremely washed out. So I think they've reined it in a bit, but it still looks slightly weird in places. Just have to set the colour setting on your TV to like max, and then it'll be fine. And there we go. So, okay, granted I didn't finish the last one, but that's it. I'd want to see the manual, but there's an annoying quirk of these games where you can't bring up the Japanese manual page. You can only bring up the European and American ones, and only the games that are out at the time for that. So, that's annoying. But, yeah, on the whole, this is once again from M2, it's a really good port. I'm glad they've ported this game, and it's really nice to have it properly on, like, this. But it's like, I'm excited to see what they do next. I'm just wondering where the hell Sonic 2 is. I really want Sonic 2 ages. The way they've hinted they might put some of the cut features in, just the drop dash in it alone, I really want Sonic 2. But, We'll have to see how that goes. One thing that I hope they do for Sonic 2, even though I know full well they won't, include Knuckles and Sonic 2. There's no reason not to. But, oh well. I would do online match, but I can't. So, oh, that's interesting. Whoa! Oh! So if you've got it like, oh, that's clever. So you can have like, when it's on the Switch screen, you can have someone on one end of the table playing their screen, and someone on the other side of the table play. Oh, that is clever. Oh, props to M2. Oh, fucking tape mode Virtua Racing. Who thinks of this stuff? Let me go see if my brother's home yet, because I will drag him into playing Virtua Racing if I can. Well, my brother is not here, so oh well. Does this work with a single Joy-Con? Let's find out. I don't see why not. Where's my controller rail? I said I carry my G-Bros adapter with me everywhere anyway, so if I want to, could just whip out a classic controller. Do that. Okay, let me see. No, don't want that stylus. This rail. Give that a try. You don't even need the controller rails, I'm just overly pedantic. Right, okay. Let's have a gander then. Can you play Virtua Racing with a single Joy-Con? Well, it's certainly working in the menus.
Select course by wheel and step on gas pedal.
This is 999 Japanese yen. And what do you know, it works on a single Joy-Con. It actually feels pretty decent, actually. Obviously, this game only uses like 2 buttons, really, unless you... And you can obviously map the gear shifting, so... It's like... Yeah, this works fine on a single Joy-Con, even if you're playing manual. So you could just do that tabletop mode thing. And, yeah. In terms of the Japanese announcer, you most certainly can. Yeah. There you go. And of course there's also the Grand Prix mode, which basically just boots it into Virtua Formula. And as previously mentioned, there's also, whatchamacallit, motion controls and stuff. So, if you go to control options, you've got an analog accelerator setting. Actually, because usually it lets you set which stick you're using, but because I'm using the single Joy-Con, it actually detects that and only lets me just set it to on. That's clever. There's the arcade steering, which is less sensitive. So it's more like just booting up an emulator and playing it. And the motion sensor, which automatically dumps it into arcade mode. So this is me steering now in arcade mode. It's like Mario Kart Wii all over again. Basically, arcade-style steering is more sensitive. Is less sensitive. So, when you turn the wheel a little bit, you will turn a little bit. So that's what you'd expect. With normal style steering, it's a hell of a lot more sensitive. It's more like a conventional console racing game where it's basically just digital directions at that point. But I actually think it works kind of well. Speaking of working kind of well, this feels great. I'm pleasantly surprised. I just need like a wheel attachment for my Joy-Con now. This actually feels pretty good. I bet this would also work pretty well with the Joy-Con grip. Yeah, so you can see here I'm actually like it's adhering to like motion better. And if I use the stick to steer, oh wait. Let me just real quick. So you can see, like for example, I'm turning like little bits, you know, still kind of sensitive as you'd expect an arcade game ported to this to be, but it's like you can make those like little adjustments. On the other hand, if you go to normal mode, like I'm pressing it as light as possible here, and it just snaps to the certain direction, like regardless. There is no rewind feature, sadly. That would have been cool for practice, but there just isn't one, unfortunately. That. Gander. Didn't mean to do that. Hop back to the English ROM for a sec.
Select course by wheel and step on gas pedal.
Only thing I'm noticing is there really no time attack? I mean, I guess it ranks you on time regardless. In helper mode, if you turn on helper mode, it basically makes it into time attack because. Oh right, yeah. Shit, I forgot I'm in a. I forgot to remap my controls because I had a gas pedal set to shift up.
Select course by wheel and step on gas pedal.
So yeah, this is now manual. Hopefully it does the thing that the Daytona, the Outrun 3D port and Outrun Switch ports do, which is if you crash, it automatically drops down your gears for you to save you like confusion of hang on a minute, I'm supposed to be in a lower gear. So that's helpful. It's just the small things that count. Having not really ever played virtual racing in manual, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here in terms of gear shifting, so I'm just going to flail around and hope for the best. Ah, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. I do tend to play manual in Daytona USA, it's just, since I never played virtual racing, I never got really accustomed to it. Yeah, this feels fine now. It's like I'm making a song. Hey, my lap times are coming down a little bit at least. Oops. Sweet. Oh, hell yeah. I'm just not used to also having 7 gears after coming off Daytona with 4. But, oh yeah, manual's great. Sweet. Well, thank you for the advice, Saturn Memories. Oh shit, lightning. We've got lightning. That probably means I'm about to have like a power cut or something. But maybe I should end this stream. But, I'm probably gonna keep playing this game now, because, really fun. I'm glad this port's turned out well. Like, just little touches like the friggin', like, mostly that new music track is so good. It's so good hearing that song in Model 1 Standard. Before I go, I'm just going to go quickly skim the Game Watch interview with the M2 crew. Oh wait, shit, I need to do my thing. Oh, it wasn't my best record though. Go. Yeah. Let me see. Alright. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, it's getting bad out there. There's actual lightning out there. Yeah. Propaganda. I want that man's Space Harrier t-shirt. Wow, it's fierce out there. I actually walked the dog earlier and just got in just as it started storming. And now it's getting real bad. Let's have a look. 30. They say that if Virtual Racing Sega Ages does very well, they want to do Sega Ages Virtua Racing 2 with all the 32X stuff. Huh. Yeah, they talk about whether because originally this was going to be on 3DS, and they were thinking of just using the 32X data and pulling the graphics models from the arcade version, but it was too hard. Replay. Yeah, there's no mention of the music being new, actually. From the looks of things, the games that from the looks of things, the 19 games that we now know is the full Wave 1. They worked a bit and they changed it so that now Wave 1 is 19 games. So for all I know, they could change it again. But, yeah. Oh, that's Griff. He's barking. So, yeah, I'm going to end the stream though, to be honest, because I'm just going to go play some more virtual racing. And, yeah. Oh. Yeah, sure, I'll post a link to the interview. 2 seconds. I looked through Virtua Formula's sound test and I didn't see any replay song. Yeah. I shall catch you guys on the next stream, whatever it may be. In the meantime, I'm gonna go play more virtual racing. This game's good, and I would continue streaming if it weren't for the fact that T's nearly ready and all that, and got other stuff to do as well. So it's like, you know, we'll go do some other stuff. So see you then. Thanks for joining, everyone. Go buy virtual racing. It's just under 1,000 yen on the Switch. Bye.